I'm Nan Feist and welcome to my studio. Today in this video we're going to talk about correcting the spine. Just giving some self-correcting exercises for the spine. For those of you who are stuck in and can't get in to see me and be treated by me, here are some self-correcting exercises. We're going to start with lying on our side on the track table and just doing a little mobilization for the spine. So here I am lying on my side. Got a pillow for my head, and my hips are stacked up and my shoulders are stacked up. I'm just going to straighten my arms and bring my knees up to 90 degrees. So I'm going to reach this hand forward and pull this hand backward. What I'm really doing here is moving my spine forward and my spine backward. Likewise, I'm going to be moving my hip forward and my hip backward, which is really my spine forward and my spine backward. All together now, we've moved this whole spine, flipping backward, taking the shoulder and the hip and the leg and arm with us, and reach it forward. Just pulling back and reaching forward. Rotating the spine backward and forward. And backward and forward. Don't forget to breathe. I like to breathe in here. And exhale the belly here. One more. Good. That's the whole spine moving together as one. Now we're just going to move the hips and leave the rib cage and shoulders and arms where they are. So my lumbar spine is going to rotate back, rotate forward, rotate back, rotate forward. A little Elvis action here, right? Going to go around my ribs to the back and to the front. Around to the back and to the front. Remember to breathe. Think about the spine turning its little dorsal fin to the floor and to the ceiling, to the floor and to the ceiling, sliding the inner thigh in, sliding the inner thigh out, going around the rib forward, around the rib backward. One more. Now the hips are going to stay square, and I'm going to move the rib cage. I'm going to come around the hips to the back, around the hips to the front, around the hips to the back, around the hips to the front. I'm not taking that hip with me. Just the rib cage, shoulder girdle, initiated by the spine to pull back and go forward. Still breathing, still exhaling. Can we do both of those things in opposition? I think we can. The hip's going to go back, the ribs are going to go forward. The hip's going to go forward, the ribs are going to go back. Just missing each other. Going forward, hip back, hip forward, shoulders back. There we go. I'm going to do this whole thing on the other side, and I'm going to turn over so you can actually see my spine. Maybe actually hard to hear, but you don't need to hear anything. We already know what we're doing from the first side. So here I am, flipping over onto my other side. Got my hips stacked and to 90 degrees, my shoulders stacked and my hands in front of me. I'm going to start with both of these moving together. The spine pulling the hip and the shoulder back and reaching forward. Pulling back, reach forward, breathe in, exhale. See that dorsal fin flip this way towards the wall and that way towards you, towards the wall, towards the camera, towards the wall. One more. And stacking up again, I'm going to move just the hips around a stable rib cage and shoulder girdle. Breathing in, getting my inner thigh to work a little. And now I'm going to move my shoulder and ribs around a stable pelvis. Back here and forward, and backward and forward. Not letting this hip come with me or go back there. It's just staying stable while the upper body is rotating. Breathe in, exhale. we do oppositional now. So my hips going forward, my shoulders going back, and the reverse. This is sometimes a little tricky for people to figure out, so I say start here with hip going forward and the shoulder going back. Now just switch. Bring that hip backward, that shoulder forward, and switch. And switch. Don't go too fast because you'll lose your rhythm. Just counter rotating that spine. Okay, we're back at rest. And while I'm here, we're going to do a little flexion and extension as well. I wanted you to see this from the back side because it is the spine. I'm just going to turn my pelvis under like bad dog all the way up into my shoulder blades. And then begin extending my tail out all the way up into my shoulder blades. Just pulling all these vertebrae down from the top to open up space between them. And then I'm going to pick up the bottom, sticking my tail out, right? Picking all the vertebrae up from the bottom. And under we go. Pulling the top down as if they could spill out the top. Now I'm lifting the bottom up so they can spill forward out the top. Holding backward to spill out the top. Sticking my tail out as if my vertebrae could actually just begin to spill forward. One last one. I like an exhale here. And like an inhale all the way up to my spine. And that's the beginning of self-correcting your spine. We're going to come back and do a little mobilizing on the wall as well. Hi, here we are in my mat space, and we're going to pick up the wall and roll vertebrae by vertebrae up and down the wall. So, I put my hair up for this so it's not all in the way when we're doing it. And I'm going to stand with my back against the wall. I'm literally just going to fall into the wall, or in my case, the springboard, and bring my feet forward quite a ways, bend my knees. Now I'm going to start with this little chin tuck. As I tuck this chin, my head goes up to the ceiling. Notice that? And it's going to go up to the ceiling, across the ceiling in an arc, and down the far wall. So, here we go. Breathing in to start. Exhale for nothing. And we breathe in again. Tucking the chin. Sending the head up. It's going to go across the ceiling and take within each little vertebra one link at a time, like all the links in the bicycle chain. It's tempting to just peel away from the wall here, but don't do that. Take your time. Keep breathing. See if you can feel each one of these little vertebrae. First pulling into the wall, then up over the imaginary ball or the arc, and down the far wall over there with the head. When we get to the bottom here, we're just going to shake it all out and hang here for a minute. So nice for your spine to be lengthening this way. All day long it stands the other way and loads in the discs. So just let it have a little length out of your tail. The head and shoulders being completely dead weight. The tail being against the wall. We have this kind of equipose here between my head pulling this way, but my hamstrings stretching a little, but keeping me attached to the wall. Now I'm going to shorten my hamstrings to pull my tail down and begin pulling each little vertebrae one at a time. Stacking them up. Pulling into the wall. Don't skip any spots. Keep those knees soft. They're not pushing. I'm just pulling this all the way back up to the top. Breathing in at the top. We're going to do this again a couple of times. Here comes that tucking chin and that head going up. It's going to start to move up to the ceiling first and then across the ceiling toward the far wall, taking each one of these little cervical vertebrae and then these thoracic vertebrae. Now I try to leave my shoulder blades here for as long as I possibly can rather than them coming with me. I like to leave them like dead weight, helping me with the downward action against my spine going with the upward action. But there will be a point at which, you can't keep the shoulder blades anymore down and they begin to come with you. Curl the ribs into the wall. Curl the lumbar spine. Soft knees here into the wall as you curl over the top. Your head just pulling you, dead weight, into gravity. Let that head really go. We hold on to our heads a lot too, so here's your opportunity to let that head just be very free. And I'm going to feel this equipose, right? Between my head being dead weight coming this way, my hamstrings stretching but holding me back here. And then I'm contracting these hamstrings to sit into the chair. They're pulling down on my pelvis, and my spine begins to pull up. One vertebrae pulling into the wall at a time. Try not to skip any segments. Of course, we probably will. This is a fundamental. You cannot do this right. You can only do it to the best of your ability. But every time you do it, there's a little more something you might learn from it. And that's true for your life. You're never going to conquer this exercise, right? You're just going to get some pieces to move a little more, other pieces of the spine to stabilize a little more, and more continuum along the whole spine. Here we go again, big breath in to get ready. Tucking the chin and sending that head. And having it move across the ceiling and across the far wall. We're going to stay down there this time when we get down there. Take a few breaths in. We're keeping our shoulder blades pretty heavy there as our thoracic spine begins to move away from the wall. Finally, our shoulder blades decide to come with us and our ribs curl into the wall. And we curl away from the wall. Easy chest, easy legs, no pushing. The head is pulling, the spine is taking you over the top. The head is completely dead weight. And my tail is resting against the wall. If I went too far, I might fall. That's what I feel like my spine is doing, really pulling me over there, except for my hips aren't going with me. My tail's keeping me anchored. It slides up the wall a little bit. Feel that stretch in the hamstrings. Okay, we're going to breathe in the middle back here, into the thoracic spine, into the back of the diaphragm, into the latissimus muscles and the serratus, into the back of the lungs. Here we go, breathing in. Feel how that sucks you up as if you're lifting your angel wings. And as you exhale, pull his belly in. Let that head go. We'll curl over the top just a little bit more. We breathe in again. Feel it lift you as the lungs fill. And exhale, pulling that belly in. Just stretch over the top again. We got one more of those breaths. Let the head go. Let the shoulders go. Breathe in the wings. Exhale the belly. Sink those heels while you stretch over the top. We're going to move away from the wall here a minute to be forward bending standing. Again, we feel the equipose of this heavy, heavy head pulling us one way. The hamstrings stretching, the heels sinking to resist. Deepen that belly. Breathing in the wings. Exhale the belly. We're just going to grab behind these legs and pull a little bit. Breathe in the wings. Exhale, grab and pull. Stretch those hamstrings, and they're going to shorten to pull us back down, to pull our tail back down, to begin one vertebra at a time, crawling back up the wall. Notice when you come in about here, as you pull these in, it starts to push the head up. Don't miss that moment of arising that happens in there. Let's try it again. Let's breathe in at the top. Tuck the chin and exhale. We're going all the way over, leaving the shoulder blades heavy. Really peeling each one of these vertebrae. They too, as they come over the top, are pushing the head and lengthening away from the tail. Boy, do we ever need some space in the rib cage and the lumbar spine. Stretching it away. Heavy into my tail, going with the head. Breathing in my wings, exhale in my belly, stretching my hamstrings. And they're going to shorten to breathe in. And begin pulling me back. Now wait for it, wait for it. As you pull each vertebrae in, get to the bottom of these ribs, you start to feel as they push up this arising sensation, this suspension, this ancient primordial arising up through the neck into the head. Take your time, don't miss that delicious moment of ancient primordial energy arising. More importantly, it resets your spine to be up, your discs to be uplifted, to be suspended rather than to be loaded down in. So we move away from the wall, shake it off a little bit. I want you to take that walk and notice the differences in your body now that you've done this lengthening and suspending action. Thank you, and be well.